Coming back to last year's report when we were in London together, then we had a full chapter in our report related to the risks for health systems not being ready for a pandemic and health challenges. And unfortunately, we have seen that the global health system is under huge pressure. And we also know that the world needs to really wake up to ongoing global risks. The Global Risks Report has been warning about pandemics for 15 years. In our first report in 2006, we also focused on the lethal flu spread by global travel could present an acute threat if we didn't build resilience. And now we see this. We have also warned about pandemics before. And at the time, at the writing now of the report, nearly 100 million worldwide have contracted COVID-19 and more than 2 million deaths. This is one of the deadliest viruses in the history, and it shows that we should pay much more attention to blind spots, but also risks that we have been addressing and building resilience. We also have seen the last year that risks are global and interconnected. Last year showed that risks aren't confined by borders or categories. COVID doesn't know any borders. COVID anywhere is COVID everywhere. We know the same with climate change, doesn't know any borders. And one of the major risks that we are still facing is, of course, the polarized world when it comes to geopolitics and also geoeconomics. Even if you see some light in the end of the tunnel, there are still huge risks connected to the polarized and fractured world. We know that the global economy is at its deepest peacetime slump, even if we're now seeing an early recovery. World output were expected to contract by 4.4% last year, and the recession, unfortunately, will lead to a situation where almost 150 million people will end up in also severe poverty, extreme poverty. This is the first time in 2 decades that we're seeing that the global poverty rate is increasing. And this comes to, unfortunately, one of the main findings of this report, and one of our main worries for the coming years is inequalities and societal fragmentation. These are immediate risks. They will bring long-term consequences if not addressed. In the Global Risks Perception Survey, we identified livelihood crisis, digital inequality, and societal cohesion erosion as one of the main risks. These are the basis of the tissue in our society. And we really need to make sure that the growth that comes in the coming years has to be more inclusive, has to create decent jobs, and also has to be more sustainable. If we don't address the underlying growth of inequalities, we will also see new risks when it comes to fragmentations in society. So these are one of the main findings this year that has to be addressed, has to be taken seriously, and is also connected to know the response to the economic crisis that we're still in. We're not out of the woods, so whatever it takes still applies, and there is a larger risk of doing too little than too much. And not only focusing on consumption now, we have to invest in the future. We have to invest in global access to also the internet. We have to invest in schools, upskilling, reskilling, making sure that inequalities are not growing, but inequalities are declining. That's one of the main messages today. Thank you.